The controversy of Norman Mailer.
I say we deep six the heads.
You're being set up.
The mystery of Ryan O'Neal.
Tim.
The intrigue of Isabella Rossellini.
Tell me the worst, dearest.
Last week, 2 people were murdered.
The power of Wings Hauser.
I want to see you die. I want to make you crazy.
Norman Mailer's explosive novel comes to the screen. Tough Guys Don't Dance, rated R.
Starts tomorrow. Consult your local newspaper for showtime.
Spectacular fireworks and bridge lighting tonight at 10.
Hi, I'm W. Wilson Good, Mayor of Philadelphia, the Bicentennial City. Good morning, America.
Well, good morning, Mayor Good, and good morning, everyone. I'm Charles Gibson, and we are here in Mayor Good's city, Philadelphia, helping to observe the 200th anniversary of the Constitution. It was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, September 17th, 1787, that 39 delegates stepped forth to sign the Constitution and begin the framework, really, of our government. Philadelphia is going to have a giant celebration all day long with a massive parade, 20,000 people. Big floats, entertainment groups like the Mormon Tabernacle Choir taking place. President Reagan will be here for an address. The former Chief Justice Warren Burger will be making the observance at 4 o'clock this afternoon of the signing of the Constitution, and we are right here in front of Independence Hall. In this half hour, we will be meeting some of the participants of today's festivities. You'll be seeing Mr. Philadelphia, I guess. Former basketball star Julius Erving will be with us. We'll also hear from Arthur Miller, who's been having a series all week long on how the Constitution works today in our courts. And Mark Russell will be here to answer the critical question, comedically, of whether or not politicians have changed over 200 years. He'll have some interesting answers. Right now down to Washington, where Edie Magnus has the news. Edie, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie, and good morning, everyone. Secretary of State George Shultz and Soviet Foreign Minister Edward Shevardnadze are wrapping up 3 days of talks today in Washington. As Gene Meserve reports, prospects for a superpower arms agreement are improving.
Mikhail Gorbachev is quoted in the Soviet press as saying an agreement on intermediate and shorter-range missiles could be signed by the end of the year. It's another indication that the meetings between Secretary of State Shultz and Soviet Foreign Minister Shevardnadze are yielding results. After their second day of morning and afternoon sessions, Shultz described the talks as going very well. And Shevardnadze said there had been progress on the issues standing in the way of an INF agreement.
I think we are now discussing all these questions more constructively than previously. And this is a step forward.
Talks on regional issues, Afghanistan, the Persian Gulf, have apparently also gone well. Shevardnadze described them as fruitful, and the State Department did not try to dampen the Soviets' upbeat assessment.
Well, I think there are any number of adjectives that can be chosen that express the same general sense, and when the question was posed that Mr. Shevardnadze had used positive, I said I wouldn't quarrel with that one either.
The goodwill this meeting has generated has been evident at social occasions, like the lunch at the Soviet embassy yesterday and the dinner last night at the State Department. The meetings wrap up today. Then it will be clearer if the progress being made is enough to bring about the superpower summit both the Americans and the Soviets want. Gene Meserve, ABC News, the State Department.
The highest-ranking black official at the State Department has quit amid accusations of racism. Assistant Secretary Alan Keyes reportedly felt that he was treated unfairly by Deputy Secretary John Whitehead. Sources say that Keyes complained that he felt like a token black whose opinions were not respected. Judge Robert Bork is back on Capitol Hill today to testify on his nomination to the U.S. Supreme Court. Yesterday, some committee members voiced skepticism when Bork seemed to soften his controversial views on freedom of speech and women's rights. The judge sought to point out the difference between his academic writings and his government record.
As Solicitor General, I carried out my duties in not a speculative or extreme fashion at all. And as a judge on the Court of Appeals, I think I have not been extreme in any way.
This is likely to be Bork's last day of testimony before the committee. The hearings are expected to continue with testimony from other witnesses. The chairman of the Senate panel reviewing Bork, Joseph Biden of Delaware, is coming under scrutiny himself. This morning he is holding a news conference to address charges that he has plagiarized both on the campaign trail and in law school. The Pope leaves Los Angeles today for San Francisco. Yesterday, the pontiff warned a group of bishops that American Catholics cannot truly be part of the church if they ignore some of its teachings. In San Francisco, gay groups are planning to protest the church's condemnation of homosexuals. Finally, a medical note this morning. Researchers have found one cause for the high rates of premature births and infant mortality among blacks. More black women, they say, are anemic. Scientists at Harvard report that black women consistently have lower levels of red blood cells. Doctors do not know whether anemia is genetic or caused by the environment. And that's our news. And back now to Philadelphia and Charlie Gibson.
Thank you very much, Edie. And of course, we've been talking about the fact the Constitution is 200 years old, and I believe today is your birthday as well. Is that not the case? Edie? Edie?
I'll never admit it.
She is considerably younger than the Constitution, I should mention. It is now 35 minutes after the hour. Spencer's going to have the national weather forecast, and he will strut his stuff in just a moment.
Dishwasher powder making things hard on you? Try liquid Palmolive Automatic. It works without shaking or caking for dishes so clean, they're worth celebrating. Break away from powders with Palmolive Automatic in new lemon, too.
Mannington Never Wax floors can change the look of any room beautifully. And now through October 17th, you'll save 20% on nearly 100 Mannington Never Wax floors. The beautiful floors with the built-in shine.
Okay, time once again for a look at the weather. We'll take a musical view of the weather this time, starting with a look at the high temperatures for the nation today. It's going to be mainly in the 50s and 60s across the northern tier of states, rather cool, while down south still warm and summer-like highs in the 80s and 90s. It's also going to be a wet day for much of the eastern part of the country. Lots of showers and thunder showers from the Great Lakes down to the Gulf Coast and into the North and Mid-Atlantic, while out west, partly to mostly clear, but a mixed bag of showers and snow over Colorado and Wyoming. That's the national weather. Here's what's happening in your hometown area.
We've got mostly cloudy skies at the moment, and it's 72 degrees. Variable cloudiness with a shower this morning. It may rain a little bit on the parade this afternoon. Clouds, some sunshine, warm and humid. Chance of a thunderstorm and a high of 82.
Now, if any of you have ever watched any New Year's Day parades, especially from Philadelphia, you know about the famous mummers and their strut. And joining me right now, we have Bob Shannon and the Quaker City String Band. Now, Bob, as you might imagine, I have natural rhythm, but I've never learned how to strut. You think you can teach me how to strut?
Philadelphia style, everybody dances. Here we go.
All right, let me drop this stuff, and I am going to learn how to strut.
Umbrella.
Umbrella.
And hand.
And hand. I love it, I love it, I love it. I think I'm getting that old strutting feeling. Ah, yes, Philadelphia-style strutting right here on the Constitution's Bicentennial. Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. The greatest show on earth right here with the Quaker City String Band strutting my stuff.
I'm not sure Ben Franklin wouldn't be a bit worried if he'd known it had come to this. Spencer Christian strutting his stuff, Philly style. It is now 37 minutes after the hour. Arthur Miller on the Freedom of the Press after this.
On time, but we've never been moved on time. You're brilliant, my dear.
No, I'm just smart enough to know that we don't know anything about moving.
And most people don't.
But when I find that Wheaton has the Good Housekeeping seal and a major consumer magazine rated Wheaton #1 for customer satisfaction, my homework on moving companies is done.
Wheaton Van Lines. Call now for your free copy of 72 Ways to Save Money Moving. 1-800-638-4500.
I want more money.
More money? Here's a way to do it. Think first, then invest.
It's elementary. First Investors Fund for Income hasn't missed paying a monthly dividend since 1973. A smart move.
It seeks a high yield.
All's well that earns well.
So what do you think?
I want more money.
Think first, then invest. Think high yield. First Investors Fund for Income.
I just had my portrait done, and it was done the right way, by a professional. He captured the real me, some of my private side that doesn't show through on TV. See how comfortable I look? Not bad for a guy who just turned 40, huh? I'm going to give this to someone special, and I'll bet someone you know would appreciate a portrait of you. But make sure you hire a professional. One who displays this symbol, because if you're going to get framed, you should look your best.
People do this, people do that. People sleep on their side, front and back. Of all the things that people do, there's one thing that's so true. More people sleep on Sealy Posturepedic, yes they do. More people sleep on Sealy Posturepedic, so should you.
It's now 20 minutes before the hour. All week long, our legal correspondent, Arthur Miller, has had a series of reports on how the Constitution is applied in the courts. Today, freedom of the press. Does it apply, for instance, to a high school newspaper? That issue, right now, is in front of the Supreme Court, and Arthur Miller has this report.
The Constitution is designed to protect everyone, including the teenagers here at Hazelwood East High School near St. Louis, Missouri. In fact, almost 20 years ago, the Supreme Court said students don't shed their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate. But exactly what are those rights? Well, a few years ago, a controversy erupted in this building, and before it's over, we may have a clearer answer to that question. Hazelwood East High School, a modern new school in an upper middle-class suburb of St. Louis. About 1,800 kids attend classes here, an average high school with average teenagers. Well, almost all of them are average.
I think then it was just really a reaction out of madness.
And by the time we actually sued them, it was the beginning of our senior year.
I think a lot of people wanted to be with it, but they didn't know exactly how to, that they could help us out.
Kathy Kuhlmeyer, Leanne Tippett, and Leslie Smart, 3 not-so-average teenagers.
Yes.
Today they are young adults, but 4 years ago they were Hazelwood High School newspaper editors, and they were very proud of the May 1983 issue of the Spectrum. Do you remember what some of the stories were about?
Pregnancy and teenage runaways and juvenile delinquency that kind of went together. And teenage marriage, too. And divorce.
And divorce.
When you wrote this, did you think it was controversial?
I don't feel it was. I don't think so.
But the school principal did. And when that issue of the Spectrum was published, the girls were shocked.
It was supposed to be a 6-page paper, and it came out, it was a 4-page, and nobody knew what happened to the other 2 pages. I thought it was just a mistake.
But it wasn't a mistake. The principal at Hazelwood thought the articles shouldn't appear in the newspaper, and so he pulled them out.
The school, exercising its right as the publisher of the paper, decided through the principal's review of the proofs that 2 pages of the paper would have been inappropriate for distribution.
The principal felt the divorce article invaded the privacy of some parents, and that the pregnant teenagers who were interviewed could be identified. The girls disagreed and asked the American Civil Liberties Union to represent them. They felt that even high school students had constitutional rights.
When you have a principal who is in fact a government official, he cannot be the publisher of this newspaper.
You think you're the publisher?
I dare say we have to be the publisher because it is a sponsored project of the school. We should have the right to determine what comes out of or what goes into a particular curriculum developed project, such as the school newspaper.
What do you think the principle of the matter is?
First Amendment rights. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Do you think that high school students have constitutional rights?
It doesn't say anywhere in the Constitution that if you're in high school or if you're in, grade school, whatever, that, you don't have any rights.
Yeah.
I mean, somewhere you got to draw a line. And I think that's what we're just trying to find out. What can we really do?
As we've shown you this week, the life of a constitutional hero isn't always an easy one. Sometimes those courtroom fights are long and hard. Next month, what may be the last battle in the war over the Hazelwood East High School newspaper will be waged in the Supreme Court. And the court's ruling may finally decide what constitutional rights high school journalists all over the country really have.
Thank you very much, Arthur. It is now 44 minutes after the hour. Dr. J and Mrs. Dr. J will be with us right after this.
Revlon lips never lie.
That's true. Long-lasting lipsticks don't always stay true to your lips. The color changes. But Revlon's designed a lipstick to stay true to your lips. Super lustrous lipstick. The pink stay pink. The red stay red. The color you see is the color you get. It's magic. It's magnifique. It's Revlon.
Revlon lips never lie.
The most unforgettable women in the world wear Revlon.
When Whirlpool asked me to talk about their customer commitment, I said, what am I going to say? And they said, now we've added a full-year replacement guarantee. When you buy any Whirlpool major appliance from a retail dealer, you'll be satisfied with its quality and performance, or we'll replace it free. I said, Whirlpool guarantees replacement free for a year? They said yes. I said, roll those cameras. I do have something to say.
When your Delaware Valley Chrysler Plymouth team comes to bat, big things happen like Grand Slam Value Days. Over 13,000 new Chryslers must go now. Get a Grand Slam deal on Chrysler LeBaron Coupe. Financing as low as 1.9% or $500 cash back. Plus save $400 more on special LeBaron Coupe option discounts. Hurry, head for It's Outta Here Grand Slam Value Days, going on now at your Delaware Valley Chrysler Plymouth dealers.
Let's have fish this week.
Great! Go get Vandy Camps.
Vandy Camp's Today's Catch fillets taste remarkably fresh because they're frozen fresh. And they're easy to prepare. They go straight from the freezer to the pan to the plate.
I think they're getting tired.
Vandy Camp's, the freshest ideas in frozen fish.
Now, try our new microwave breaded fish sticks and fillets.
It is now 46 minutes after the hour. We could not come to Philadelphia without talking to Julius Erving. For 11 years, he operated all over the Philadelphia basketball court and a lot of the time above it. And he is the now retired star of the Philadelphia 76ers, and he joins us with his wife, Turquoise, and it is nice to see you both. This is a big day for your city.
Oh, absolutely. We're celebrating a birthday of the Constitution of the United States of America.
When we were talking about coming down here, we were sitting around talking about who should we have on the program who best represents Philadelphia. And everybody in the room said, well, we got to have Julius Erving on. And soon after that, it occurred to me that 200 years ago on this day, there were a group of people that we revere sitting down there talking about whether somebody of your color even had a right to be a citizen. And now you are probably the most recognized figure in this city. When you walk around, do you ever think about what an incredible kind of change that represents?
Well, I try not to think about it because I try to really focus on what is happening and focus about the future rather than the past in my everyday life. But with this celebration, with this event, this particular week, one can't help but to think about what the Founding Fathers were thinking about when they inked the Constitution, and they were thinking about a United States, freedom for all, a oneness. And the events of today will bring to the forefront the results of that thinking, and I'm very happy about that. You know, when you think about this city and think about that the first family of Philadelphia, the mayor's family, is a black family, and the fact that my wife and I and our family are the most recognized people in Philadelphia, it is a great testimony to how great our country is.
You sure are recognized Philadelphians, but you're transplanted to this city, right? You didn't start here.
No, I'm originally from North Carolina. I lived in New York and then Philadelphia, and I'd always hoped to go back to New York, but now I've adopted Philadelphia as home for me.
When the basketball career was over, there was no question in your mind this was where you guys stayed?
Oh, no. Never thought about it. This was it. We made it home.
Yeah? Now tell me something, honestly and truthfully. Is he a bear without basketball? I mean, is he a grump around the house now that he's not playing anymore? Or is he...
Everybody asks me that question. He is constantly playing golf. Every day that he can get on that golf course, he's on that golf course. So I don't know if he's a grump yet or not. He hasn't been around long enough.
I remember so well seeing the pictures of the last game. I mean, you were feted in every city, I guess, when you went around the league. But it was the last day, those pictures of the last day in Philadelphia. We've got a clip of I think, what it was like on that last game when you played, and the goodbye ceremony for you. That was quite a day.
It really was quite a day. We had the mayor come out, we had the governor come out. Of course, the league was represented. We had entertainers in Philadelphia represented, and we had a lot of people in the audience who specifically dressed in tuxedos and sneakers just to say goodbye to Julius Erving and his family, and it was quite an evening. I'll never forget it.
And you're doing what now?
Well, right now I'm doing some promotional work and bottling Coca-Cola. I'm a Philadelphia Coca-Cola bottler. And I'm going out on the speaking tour. I'm going through the Washington Speakers Bureau, and I'll probably visit college campuses throughout 1987 and 88. And then I'll be facing another summer of decision-making.
And you're very active in the community as well, I gather.
Oh, yes, I'm on the Philadelphia Ballet, Einstein Hospital, Please Touch Museum. I'm involved in a lot of things in Philadelphia, plus 4 kids. It keeps me very busy.
Indeed. Well, it's nice to have you here. One of the first families of Philadelphia. Very nice to have you here. Everybody rooted for the 76ers when they saw you in the stadium. It's nice to have you. So thanks very much. It's now 10 minutes before the hour. Mark Russell here to answer the critical question of whether politicians have changed over 200 years. He'll be here in just a moment.
If you think all tartar control toothpastes were created equal, we've got news for you. One of these formulas, Colgate Tartar Control with Fluoride, has been clinically proven more effective. Proven better than Tartar Control Crest and fighting ugly tartar buildup. Over 1.5 times better in a 3-month study, and 4.5 times better in a 6-month study. So once you weigh the evidence, you'll know. It's Colgate Tartar Control.
In 1787, they signed their names to the Constitution. By keeping us a free nation, a free people, it guarantees every American the opportunity to succeed. Celebrate 200 years of America's success, protected by the Constitution. Please read it, learn more about it. For your free copy of the official commemorative edition, write to Citicorp. Citicorp, because Americans want to succeed, not just survive.
Want to know a secret? The glasses you're wearing right now were probably made in about an hour. But you had to wait because they made your glasses at a faraway lab. At LensCrafters, it all happens right here. Listen.
There's no secret to it at all.
The laboratory's right there.
My glasses were made in 1 hour.
45 minutes.
You're going to have your glasses in an hour.
LensCrafters, quality eyeglasses in about an hour. Hamilton Mall, Princeton Market Fair, and Springfield Park Shopping Center.
Want to go for a spin? I'm a wheel watcher. I'm a wheel watcher. Every day. I love to play. I'm a wheel watcher. I'm a wheel watcher. Become one now.
It's the new season of Wheel of Fortune.
Imagine the sight of 4 men, convicts from nearby Walnut Street Jail, carrying a large, elderly man in a sedan chair from this courtyard, where his house used to stand, to sessions of the Constitutional Convention. Well, that was the scene 200 years ago when Benjamin Franklin, at 81, the convention's oldest delegate, arrived each day for the constitutional debate. By now, Franklin's age was taking a toll on his strength and concentration, but he still had a way with words. As he left one session here at Independence Hall, a woman asked, "Well, Dr. Franklin, what have we got, a republic or a monarchy?" To which he replied, "A republic, if you can keep it." Words that speak to us today.
Thank you, Arthur. It's 6 minutes before the hour right now, and the Constitution may be the blueprint for our democracy, but political humorist Mark Russell tells us that we, the contractors, certainly have taken liberty with the plans.
Looking at the federal government created 200 years ago by the Constitution, you're tempted to ask the question,
Are you sure we're talking about the same piece of parchment? For example, I have picked through this thing from the preamble to the 26th Amendment, and nowhere does it say that Congress should go away on junkets. And nowhere in here will you find the words Las Vegas, Caesar's Palace, Luau, or Cannes Film Festival. Examine Article 1 here, which deals with the legislative branch, and you will find that at no time did the framers decide that the winner of an election should be the one who raises the most money for TV commercials. If you can find the words fundraiser in here, or influence peddling, or even bribery, I will send you an autographed picture of J.R. Ewing. Congress shall raise its own pay. Not in here, boys and girls. One of the problems with Article 2, the executive branch, was choosing the kind of leader the new nation should have. They discussed a president and even a king, but did they ever mention an actor or a peanut farmer? No. I'm no constitutional scholar, but I do know this, that in Philadelphia 200 years ago, Ben Franklin never said, "Gentlemen, I believe it's time we discuss the New Hampshire primary and the Iowa caucuses. All presidential candidates should go to Iowa, posing in cornfields with farmers on tractors." Not only would Ben's colleagues have said, "What's a tractor?" they would have said, "What's an Iowa?" Incidentally, it's not true that Ben Franklin was invited to the Constitutional Convention because he was low bidder on the printing.
Well, sir, I'm not a potted plant. I'm here as the lawyer. That's my job.
One of the mainstays of our present-day government is the Congressional Committee. There is no evidence that congressional committees even occurred to the writers of the Constitution. That's because the writers included Franklin and Madison and not Barnum and Bailey. However, it was not all work here in Philadelphia. We can imagine that the delegates, under stress, went into town one night and got rip-roaring drunk. Late that night, under heavy intoxication, they staggered back to Independence Hall and dreamed up the Electoral College. So I guess we can say that 200 years ago, the politicians framed the Constitution. Today, they're framing us. Have you got my light mead, please? Thank you very much. Charge it to Charlie Gibson. Appreciate it. Good man.
Thank you, Mark. I think we'll be right back.
In our next hour, actor Wayne Rogers and pop artist Peter Max.
Mail us the wrappers from your Milk Duds and Whoppers candy. You'll earn some easy money. Milk Duds and Whoppers offer ends December 31st, 1987.
Where's Chuck? Why do you sit here, JC?
Excuse me. Aren't you glad you used dials?
To the airport. Let's go. Can we open a window here?
Don't you wish everybody did?
Driver, do you have a handle for this window?
You know the place where the hash browns sizzle day and night. You'd order 'em tender, but crisp, Max. Let me hear 'em sizzle. And that was about the only place you'd go for hash browns. Till now. Introducing Aunt Jemima Toaster Browns. Tender, golden, and so crisp you can hear 'em sizzle. Nothing could be finer in the morning. New Aunt Jemima Toaster Browns.
When we come back to Philadelphia, more on this 200th birthday of the Constitution. You will meet pop artist Peter Max, who has been commissioned to paint something illustrating America the Beautiful. You'll meet two people who are becoming citizens of the United States today, and you'll meet some descendants of the Founding Fathers. So, stay around.
Job and I'm not living in my car anymore.
I do believe something's happening to you and me. Something's happening on ABC.
Think IGA today.
It's coupon sale days at IGA, and we've cut the prices on Betty Crocker Hamburger Helper. Buy one, get one free with coupon. Or clean up with hefty trash bags, 20-count box, $1.99. And start your day with Post Raisin Bran, 20-ounce box, $1.99. During coupon sale days, we've cut the prices, so you can cut the coupons. And
think IGA today, 'cause we're thinking of you.
The question is, how do you get the sofa you want in the style and fabric you want and get it in 35 days? The answer, Choice Seating Gallery with over 400 styles. Once you pick your style, choose from over 800 fabrics. Pick your favorite color, your favorite pattern, your favorite weave, and once you choose your style and fabric, get a sofa and love seat, a sleeper and chair, even a sectional delivered in just 35 days. Save 25% during our fall special order sale at the Choice Seating near you.